You ever been judged by someone who didn't know the first thing about you? I mean, not just misunderstood, but completely misread, like you're some kind of danger to society. When all you've ever done is mow your lawn, ride your motorcycle, and keep your nose clean. Yeah, that was me. My name's Cal Becker. I'm 52. Retired military. The folks around my neighborhood just knew me as the quiet guy who fixed things and kept to himself. Lived in Rockridge Pines, nice enough place. Mostly young families and retirees. Not too fancy, not too rundown. You know, the kind of neighborhood where people used to wave when you passed by. Used to. That all changed the day Cynthia Hale decided she was the sheriff in town. Now Cynthia, where do I even start? She moved in about a year before everything blew up. Late 30s. Worked in real estate or claimed to. Blonde bob, designer sunglasses, always strutting around in these navy blazers like she was on some HOA SWAT team. She wasn't elected, just started calling herself interim HOA president, and the rest of the board went along cause, well, no one really wanted the job. First it was harmless. Parking notices. Those little passive-aggressive notes under windshield wipers. Then came the safety regulations. She printed up signs, 15 miles per hour speed limits, dog leash zones. Even noise curfews that weren't in any bylaws I'd ever seen. Started patrolling in a golf cart with flashing yellow lights and decals that said community security. Yeah, you heard that right. Decals. She even carried what looked like a radar gun and one of those novelty citation books you buy off eBay. We all thought it was ridiculous. Until she turned on me. See, I ride a Harley. Nothing flashy. Just a black 2012 Road King. Good chrome, solid pipes. Sometimes I like to ride in the evenings, clear my head, feel the wind. Cynthia, apparently, thought that was a threat to her empire. It started with a fake ticket, $1.50 fine for noise violation. Left right there on my tank. I crumpled it, tossed it, didn't think much of it. But then she showed up at my door. Clipboard in hand, fake badge on her lapel, standing with one foot on my porch like she owned the place. Mr. Becker, she said, all serious. You've received a citation. Failure to comply may result in escalating enforcement action. I laughed. Out loud. Enforcement action? Cynthia, this isn't the DMV. Her smile didn't move an inch. If you're not going to take community safety seriously, we'll have to consider your status as a resident in good standing. You mean the fake police act you're putting on? I asked, pointing to her plastic badge. You're bluffing. She leaned in, voice cold. You'll regret underestimating me. And man, I didn't know it yet, but she meant it. Next thing I know, I'm being cited for non-compliant shrub trimming, improper storage of tools, and, get this, suspected unauthorized mechanical activity in a residential zone. That last one. Me working on my bike in my own garage. But she didn't stop at tickets. Nope. Cynthia began showing up at night, unannounced, demanding inspections. Claimed there were safety risks. Once, she tried to get in my backyard 'cause she said my garden shed was not up to structural code. It was like living next to a reality show villain who thought she had legal immunity. And the worst part? People started buying into it. The whispers began, that guy's weird. Did you hear the sounds coming from his garage? Folks I'd helped move furniture. Neighbors I'd lent jumper cables to, that just stopped looking me in the eye. Now, I've spent most of my life keeping things low-key. You don't survive 2 decades in military intelligence by being flashy. But Cynthia? She backed me into a corner. And what she didn't know, what none of them knew, was that I wasn't just some retiree tinkering with bikes. I was still active reserve, embedded in special operations as a domestic liaison. Yeah, I wore civilian clothes, planted tomatoes, and walked my dog like everybody else. But when things got serious, I reported straight to a federal command unit just outside Fort Tilden. So one morning, after another bogus citation, this time for unauthorized flagpole height, I called in a quiet favor. Not a raid, not a takedown, just presence. Fast forward 3 days. I'm coming home from a tactical meeting at the base, riding my Harley, wearing my civvies, but my comms were hot, secure radio strapped under my vest, convoy following behind me. Standard procedure when I'm carrying sensitive gear. As I turn onto my street, there she is. Cynthia, standing in the middle of the road in full fake regalia. Cones lined up like a DUI checkpoint. Hand outstretched, air horn in the other. You're speeding, she said as I slowed down, pulling up beside her. 22 in a 15 zone. Step off the vehicle. I actually grinned. You really want to do this today? License and registration, she said, like a line from a B movie. Now, before I could answer, you could hear it, the low rumble. Humvees. 5 of them, all olive drab and diesel, crawling down the street like thunder in formation. Cynthia's eyes lit up, like she thought backup had arrived. Perfect, she smirked. Looks like the real law's here. But when Colonel Laird stepped out of the lead Humvee and nodded at me, Major Becker, is everything in order? The look on her face shifted from smug to stunned. Did he just call you Major? She asked, stepping back. I unzipped my jacket, revealing the insignia. My full dress uniform underneath. Yes, ma'am, I said, real calm. And you just tried to obstruct a federal escort mission. Cynthia dropped her citation pad, literally dropped it on the street. Colonel Laird stepped forward, scanned her outfit, her phony gear, then asked the obvious. Ma'am, are you licensed to conduct traffic enforcement on federal property? She stammered. I'm the HOA president. He didn't blink. That wasn't my question. Then from across the street, another voice piped up. Mr. Gregson, retired judge, lived here longer than anyone. He stepped out with a file box under his arm. Major Becker, he said, smiling. I think now's a good time. He walked over, opened the box, and laid it on the hood of the Humvee. Inside, documents, screenshots, bank records, voice recordings. I've been building a case, Gregson said. Everything she's done, fake tickets, inspection fees, even bribes. She's taken over $30,000 from the community. It's all in here. Turns out, Gregson had been quietly investigating Cynthia for months, waiting for the right moment to go public. Then I made one last call to the county land office. Got confirmation that our entire neighborhood was technically on leased federal land under a military zoning clause, which meant that Cynthia's fake authority didn't just break HOA rules. It violated national security regulations. Colonel Laird turned to her, crisp and clear. Ma'am, impersonating law enforcement, issuing fraudulent fines, and obstructing military protocol are serious offenses. I suggest you remain silent. She tried to run her mouth. I didn't know. I was just trying to keep the community safe. But at that point, the Real police arrived. Handcuffs, Miranda rights, the works. And right there, in front of the same neighbors who'd avoided me for months, Cynthia Hale, the self-appointed sheriff of Rockridge Pines, was led away in an orange jumpsuit that didn't quite match her usual wardrobe. 2 weeks later, we held an emergency HOA meeting. Biggest turnout in the neighborhood's history. Gregson presented everything. The fraudulent citations, the Oak Ridge Security Fund bank account, the surveillance gear Cynthia had set up in her house, including fake radios and police scanners to make her act seem more convincing. One woman stood up, tears in her eyes. Said Cynthia had threatened to report her to CPS if she didn't pay for a birthday party permit. A grandfather said he was fined $150 for a tree that blocked visibility lines. Story after story came out, some sad, some outrageous, all real. And me? I stood at the front, still in uniform, and said, I never asked for recognition. I just wanted peace. But peace isn't the absence of noise. It's the absence of fear. Cynthia Hale used fear as a weapon. And now that weapon's been taken away, the room went quiet. Then applause broke out. Not for me, really, but for what we'd all just reclaimed. Community. Since then, things are different. Gregson and I helped draft new HOA guidelines. Votes are public, finances transparent. No one person holds unchecked power. We built a community garden on the corner lot Cynthia used to call her operations hub. We even got rid of those fake speed limit signs. And now? Now when I ride my Harley through the streets of Rockridge Pines, people wave again. Kids ride their bikes. Neighbors chat on porches. And if you listen close, you can almost hear the sigh of a neighborhood finally breathing easy. So yeah, sometimes, the quiet ones are the ones you should have left alone. Now I'm curious. Have you ever dealt with someone like Cynthia? Someone who thought a little power made them untouchable? Let me know in the comments. What would you have done? Should I have exposed her sooner? Or was it worth waiting to let her dig her own hole? And hey, if this story hit home, do me a favor, share it with someone who needs a reminder that real authority doesn't come from fake badges, it comes from integrity. Because in the end, justice may take its time, but it always rides in.